They say aging is natural, that it's normal for desire to fade, for energy to wane, for your manhood to quietly soften with time, but what they don't tell you, what no one tells you, is this: by the time you turn 60, the blood flow to your lower body, to your penis, has likely dropped by 30 to 50%, not because you've lost your masculinity, not because you're too old, but because tiny blood vessels, once wide open highways, are now narrowed, stiff, and silently starving your intimate organs of oxygen. You might have noticed it: morning wood that comes less often, a softer erection that doesn't last, the slow fading of a fire you once thought would burn forever. But here's the part that stings most: you probably blamed yourself. Most men do. They carry the shame quietly, avoid eye contact in the mirror. They stop reaching for their partner at night, not out of disinterest, but out of fear, and still, no one talks about the real cause. Your doctor may mention hormones, maybe even hand you a blue pill, but what if I told you this isn't about a quick fix? What if your vitality could be restored, not just chemically, but naturally, by restoring the one thing your manhood depends on? Circulation. Healthy blood flow is everything. It's the difference between life and stagnation, between energy and fatigue, between a soft whisper of desire and a full, confident flame. And here's the truth that changes everything: there are simple, natural ways to support that flow, right from your kitchen cabinet. You don't have to live like this, not anymore, because what's happening isn't your fault. But what you do next, that is your power. There's a certain kind of silence that settles into a man's life after 60, not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, aching kind, the kind that creeps in when the spark between you and your partner begins to dim, and no one says it out loud. You wake up in the morning, not energized, but drained, not by age, but by a feeling you can't quite name. Your body doesn't respond the way it used to. You notice it in the shower, when your hands hesitate, when your confidence retreats, and at night you turn off the light a little faster, not because you've lost desire, but because you're afraid it might betray you again. This is the moment many men start pulling away, not out of disinterest, but out of quiet heartbreak, because there's nothing more isolating than wanting to be close, and not being able to follow through. I've spoken with men who have been married 30, even 40 years. Strong, capable, devoted men. But when the body begins to falter, they question themselves. They stop initiating. They avoid touch, and slowly the distance grows, not just in the bedroom, but in the heart. You start blaming yourself. Maybe I've let myself go. Maybe I'm just done. But let me say something you may not have heard in a long time. This is not your fault. This isn't about desire. It's not about love. And it's certainly not about weakness. It's about biology. Simple, fixable biology, and right now, there's more hope than you've been led to believe, because while the spark may flicker, it hasn't gone out. And sometimes all it takes is the right oxygen to bring the fire back. There's a wound men carry that never bleeds. It doesn't show up on lab tests or scans, but it cuts deep, right into your sense of self. You start to feel it when your body doesn't respond like it used to, when desire rises, but function doesn't follow, and suddenly the man you've always known yourself to be, strong, capable, confident, starts to feel like a stranger. No one talks about this part, not the doctors, not your buddies, not even your partner, because how do you explain that a softer erection feels like a loss of dignity, that avoiding intimacy isn't rejection? It's protection. From the shame of not being able to follow through, you begin to doubt yourself. You wonder, is this who I am now? You say less, touch less, and the silence between you and your partner grows, not out of lack of love, but out of fear. I've looked into the eyes of men who built careers, raised families, fought wars, men who endured more than most ever will, and yet nothing humbled them like this quiet, invisible decline. Because when your body falters in this way, it doesn't just affect your health, it steals something sacred, your voice, your touch, your ability to express love without words. But I want you to hear this, clearly and without shame. Your manhood is not defined by a moment of weakness. It's not erased by aging or softened by time. That power you feel slipping away, it's still there, just waiting to be reclaimed. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone, but you do deserve to feel whole again. To stand in front of the mirror and see not just an older man, but a wiser one, capable of love, strength, and deep connection. You're not broken. You're simply being called back to yourself. He came into my office with quiet eyes and slumped shoulders. 68 years old, divorced, living alone in a small apartment on the edge of town. He said, "Doc, I think I've missed my last chance at love. There was no dramatic illness, no surgery, no diagnosis. Just something deeper. A quiet erosion of confidence." He hadn't been intimate in nearly a decade, not because he didn't want to, but because his body simply wouldn't respond. He'd tried pills, briefly, but they made him feel like a machine, not a man, and when they stopped working, so did his hope. I listened as he told me how he used to play music for his wife late at night, how they'd dance barefoot in the kitchen at midnight. But now, even the idea of holding someone close made his chest tighten. Not with desire, but with shame. He wasn't sick, but he was suffering from loneliness, from disconnection, from believing it was too late to feel alive again. So I offered him something unexpected, not a prescription, not a hormone patch, but a simple shift, starting with something as humble as baking soda mixed with warm water, once a day on an empty stomach. He raised an eyebrow. "That's it." I nodded. "It's not magic. It's chemistry. This helps restore your body's internal balance. It supports circulation, especially where it matters." He agreed, skeptical, but willing. 3 weeks later he came back. His posture was different, his voice stronger. I don't know what happened. He said, but I woke up, and I felt something again, for the first time in years. He wasn't just talking about physical sensation. He was talking about hope. You see, healing doesn't always begin in the bedroom. Sometimes it starts with one small act of belief that maybe, just maybe, your story isn't over yet. Let's clear the air. What's happening to your body isn't just about age or testosterone or some fading flame inside you. It's about circulation, pure and simple. Your erection isn't just a signal of desire. It's a vascular event. That means blood flow, pressure, expansion. The very foundation of your manhood is your bloodstream, and here's where the myth has misled millions. You've been told it's all about hormones, that testosterone is the holy grail, but the truth is, even with perfect hormones, if the blood can't reach where it needs to go, nothing happens. That's where nitric oxide comes in. It's a tiny gas-like molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and expand, a process called vasodilation. When nitric oxide is high, blood moves freely, erections are firmer, energy rises. When it's low, you feel heavy, tired, and unresponsive. Now here's where it gets interesting. As you age, your nitric oxide levels naturally decline. Your vessels stiffen, blood moves slower, and yes, intimacy suffers, but here's the part no one told you. Baking soda in the right dose can help. Why? Because it helps your body restore its pH balance. Most modern diets and stress levels push the body into a more acidic state, and in that state, nitric oxide doesn't work as well. Your blood vessels constrict, your oxygen delivery slows, and you start feeling like your best years are behind you. But when you alkalize gently, by drinking a small amount of baking soda in water on an empty stomach, you create a friendlier environment for nitric oxide to thrive. It's not a miracle drug, it's not overnight, but it's real chemistry supporting real function, and sometimes it's that one overlooked piece, the thing no one talks about, that makes all the difference because your body hasn't given up on you. It's just been waiting for the right signal to open the floodgates again. It's easy to overlook the simple things, a pinch of powder, a glass of water, but sometimes the smallest shift becomes the quiet beginning of your comeback. If you want to support better blood flow, sharper energy, and a stronger presence in the bedroom, This tiny ritual might surprise you. Here's what I recommend, man to man. First thing in the morning, before you eat anything, before coffee, before the world has a chance to rush in, pour yourself a glass of warm water, not too hot, not cold, just warm enough to feel soothing going down. Now take 1/4 teaspoon of pure baking soda. No aluminum, no additives. Stir it gently into the water. Let it dissolve completely. This moment is yours. Stand tall, breathe deep, and drink slowly. Why before breakfast? Because an empty stomach allows the alkalizing effect to work more efficiently. It helps balance your body's internal pH, supports healthy nitric oxide function, and primes your blood vessels to open up. Think of it as preparing the soil before planting anything new, but here's the key: consistency over intensity. Don't overdo it. More isn't better. Stick to one small dose daily, especially if you're new to it. If you have high blood pressure, kidney issues, or are on medications, always check with your doctor first. Safety matters. Now, pair this ritual with hydration. Drink water steadily throughout the day, and add a light morning stretch or walk to get your blood moving. Even 5-10 minutes, you're not just fixing a symptom, you're waking up a part of yourself that's been dormant. Over time, men report deeper sleep, steadier energy, and yes, firmer, more reliable intimacy. It's not about chasing youth, it's about reclaiming function, dignity, control. One small glass, one steady step at a time. There comes a morning, not marked on any calendar, when you wake up and something feels different. Not dramatic, not loud, but undeniable. You stretch and there's strength in your limbs. You walk to the mirror and you see a man who's returning home to himself. A man who doesn't flinch from his reflection, but meets it with quiet pride. That's the beginning of your rebirth, not as someone new, but as someone remembered, because deep down you were never broken, just buried, under years of fatigue, doubt, and silent resignation. But now, you feel blood moving, you feel heat where there was once stillness, you feel a quiet, confident presence returning, not just in your body, but in your eyes. Your partner notices it too, not because of some grand gesture, but because you reach for their hand again. Like you used to, you hold longer, you kiss deeper, you stop apologizing for your age, and start owning your wisdom. This is what happens when circulation returns, when energy no longer leaks out through stress and inflammation, but flows like a current, reviving every part of you. You walk taller, you move with rhythm, and when night falls, you no longer dread the moment of intimacy. You welcome it, not just because of performance, but because of presence, because you feel again. This is the fire no pill can give you. This is the confidence that doesn't need to be spoken, because it's lived. So let this be your reminder. Your body remembers how to burn, your heart remembers how to lead, and your touch, steady, honest, alive, still has power. The return has begun, not to youth, but to you. There's something sacred about a man who decides, enough, enough waiting, enough shrinking, enough pretending that this slow fade is just part of getting older. You've carried so much in silence, years of trying to adjust to a body that no longer felt like yours, of lowering expectations, hiding disappointments, brushing off the pain with a tired smile. But here's the truth: you don't need another year of that. You don't need to keep putting off the life you still want to feel in your bones, because change isn't a mountain. It starts with one glass of water, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, one choice to believe your vitality is still reachable. Not for someone younger, for you. This isn't about chasing the man you once were. It's about stepping into the man you're still becoming, wiser, stronger, more present than ever before. Don't let another birthday pass with a quiet sigh. Don't let your reflection become a stranger, and don't wait for permission to feel alive again. You've got time, you've got breath, and most importantly, you've got a choice. So tomorrow morning, before the world wakes up, fill that glass, stir in that quiet decision, and drink on your return, not to youth, not to fantasy, but to clarity, courage, and circulation the fire is still there, let it rise.